So you've definitely seen this building before. It's one of the most recognizable structures in the entire world, the Makkah Royal Clock Tower. But this isn't just a story about a huge building. Nope, this is a story about a hidden secret, a challenge that seemed absolutely impossible, and the incredible, mind-bending ingenuity it took to solve it.
And right here, this is the central puzzle that makes this story so fascinating. You've got this marvel of modern engineering standing in the heart of Islam's holiest city. To build it, you needed the best specialists on the planet. The problem? Well, those very specialists were legally forbidden from ever setting foot on the construction site. So how on earth did they do it?
First, let's just try to wrap our heads around the scale of this thing. We're talking about a price tag of $16 billion. That doesn't just make it a tall building, it makes it the most expensive skyscraper ever built. This was never just about a hotel, it was about making a massive statement on a global, historical, and, of course, a spiritual scale.
Okay, so let's dig into that impossible task. Because from the get-go, this was a forbidden project, built around a problem that, on paper, really looked like it had no solution.
This right here is the heart of the conflict. The Saudi king wanted the absolute best, and the best happened to be a specific German engineering firm. I mean, they were famous for this kind of work. They were the only ones who could pull off the diamond-like facade and that giant gold-plated crescent at the top. But the religious law was absolute. Only Muslims can enter Makkah. And that wasn't a guideline, you know? It was an immovable wall.
So why? Why go through all this trouble to solve such a tricky problem? Well, to get that, we have to look at the incredible ambition driving this whole race to the sky. I mean, the location itself is just layered with history. For more than 200 years, this Ottoman-era fortress, the Ajad Fortress, stood right there, protecting the Kaaba. Its demolition back in 2002 was pretty controversial, but it cleared the way for this new era, which gave us the tower we see today.
And this chart, this really shows you the why behind it all. Religious tourism is a huge, huge economic engine for Saudi Arabia, and the sheer demand for places to stay in Makkah is unlike anything else on Earth. 250,000 hotel rooms? That just blows global tourism hubs like Dubai and even Las Vegas out of the water. The clock tower complex was built to handle that unbelievable number of people.
And, there was another goal in the mix, to be the tallest building in the world. Originally, the Makkah Clock Tower was supposed to grab that title, but then the plan for its 600-meter height got leaked. And what did Dubai do? They quickly added a few more floors to the Burj Khalifa, snatching the record. That race to the sky is always a quiet but intense competition.
But hey, having a big ambition is one thing. Actually building it is something else entirely. So let's get into the incredible engineering feats and the massive odds this team had to overcome to make it happen.
Can you even imagine getting this phone call? The foundation was already poured. Everything was designed for a 450-meter tower. And then, when they're already at that height, the decision comes down. We need to go higher. Adding more concrete was impossible. The foundation just couldn't take the weight. So the engineers had to invent a super strong but incredibly lightweight steel structure for that final 150 meters. It was a massive, mid-project engineering miracle.
And it wasn't just the main structure. Even the materials had to be revolutionary. Take the giant clock hands. Steel was just way too heavy. It would bend and warp under the intense wind pressure up there. The answer was carbon fiber, a material that's lighter than steel but way, way stronger. And it's totally rust-proof, which is pretty crucial for a landmark that's supposed to last for centuries. And just to give you a sense of scale here, the minute hand, just the minute hand, is 23 meters long. If you stood it on its end, it would be as tall as a 5-story building. You can actually walk inside it to do maintenance. It's wild.
And yeah, it needed every bit of that carbon fiber strength. The clock was built to withstand insane winds whipping around the top of that tower, sometimes hitting speeds of up to 200 kilometers per hour.
So it's big, it's strong, but can you even see it? Well, that was another challenge. The solution? 2 million green LED lights covering the clock faces. They make the time visible from up to 8 kilometers away, even in the middle of the night.
Okay, which brings us all the way back to our original mystery. With all this specialized German work needed, how did they get around the no-entry rule? This is where the story gets really clever. They came up with this brilliant strategy, and we'll just call it the Dubai solution. It was a truly ingenious workaround that managed to respect the religious law while still letting the best engineers in the world get the job done.
And here's exactly how they did it. It was this fascinating two-part approach. For the work that absolutely had to be done on-site, a few of the key German engineers, including the company's owner, actually converted to Islam. For everyone else, they set up a whole parallel project. They built a full-scale, 100% functional replica of the clock in the crescent in a massive workshop in Dubai. They tested every single component, perfected the assembly, and then shipped the pieces to Makkah for the local teams to install like a giant puzzle.
So the pieces were finally ready. But one last, incredibly dangerous job was left: lifting the tower's spectacular crown into place, 600 meters up in the air.
And this was not just some little decoration. We're talking about the Golden Crescent. It's a 35-ton structure made of a lightweight composite, but covered in 10 million tiny, gold-layered mosaic tiles. It's an engineering marvel all by itself.
And lifting it, well, it was a total nightmare. It was way too heavy to lift in one go, so they broke it into 4 sections. But even a 4-ton piece was pushing the tower crane to its absolute limit at that height. And then, the worst thing that could happen, happened. As a piece was being lifted, a sudden gust of wind just grabbed it, turning this multi-ton section into a giant, swinging pendulum. It was a heart-stopping moment. It was only because workers scrambled so quickly to secure it with ropes that they avoided a complete catastrophe.
So the tower was finally finished, a masterpiece of global teamwork and engineering. But for the man who designed it all, the story has this really poignant, almost bittersweet ending.
The lead architect for the entire tower, a man named Günther Nil, was one of the specialists who could not enter the Holy City. So after pouring years of his life into designing every single detail of this iconic building, he was forever forbidden from actually experiencing his own creation firsthand.
And this just captures that moment so perfectly. When the tower was finally done, he made his own kind of pilgrimage. He drove all the way to the edge of the Holy Territory, the closest he could legally get, looked out at his masterpiece shimmering on the horizon, and then just quietly turned his car around and drove away. It really leaves you with this one final thought, doesn't it? This monument is a symbol of faith, of incredible wealth, of unbelievable engineering, and of human ingenuity solving impossible problems. So when something is born from so many contradictions, what does it truly stand for in the end? That's something to think about. Thanks for joining me.